on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
And we're back. It's always great to have Gidi Grinstein with us. He is the founder and president of Reut Institute, an Israel-based strategy and action group focused on effectuating change in areas critical to Israel's future. The author reflects Rigidity, the secret of Jewish adaptability. He's proud of the role he played in designing the Birthright Israel program between 1995 and 1999. And he also served as secretary and coordinator of the Israeli delegation to the peace negotiation with the PLO in the Bureau of Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Gidi, Shana Tova, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Zev, Shana Tova, Shavua Tov. Thank you for having me again on your show. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
And thank you. So tell us, what do you think about this current peace plan that President Trump is putting together, where there's now a ceasefire in Gaza? They'll have over 1,000 Hamas and Palestinian prisoners. Some of them with blood on their hands are going to be released. Overall, are you optimistic, pessimistic? Tell us your views.
Well, first of all, I think my focus is that 20 live Israeli hostages will be released in addition to a number of bodies. We don't know whether it's going to be 15 or 20 or 21 perhaps. This is apparently the highest number that they may expect. So this is the good news. I also think that the war is coming to an end, which is another good reason to be optimistic. And I think President Trump actually laid out an outline for moving forward from ending the war to a political horizon of coexistence between the Israeli side and the Palestinian side, supported by many stakeholders in the Middle East. So altogether, I think I am the most optimistic that I've been in a long time. And I'm just biting my nails until we see the Israeli hostages crossing the border in about 24 hours.
Well, we'd love to see that. We certainly, we're anticipating, hoping, we're praying for that. They all come back in good health. And I know that they went through a terrible, terrible ordeal. But what concerns me a little bit is how trustworthy are Turkey and Qatar. They're the ones that are put together this deal. But they're certainly at odds with Israel. Qatar plays both ends of the games. They support Hamas and they've helped Hamas, and Turkey certainly is not friendly to Israel, to put it mildly. They've been antagonistic over these years. How important role they're going to be playing? What does that mean overall?
Well, I think we know peace you make among enemies. You end war between warring parties. So the entity on the other side is never someone you like or you love or you appreciate. And in this case, I think that the Trump administration displayed really brilliant diplomacy in the ability to bring into this deal all relevant stakeholders. And the role of Qatar and Turkey specifically is very important because they're the main backers of Hamas. And the moment the President Trump and his team were able to bring Qatar and Turkey on board with the 20-point plan of President Trump, that left Hamas with few options except to agree to this proposal. Of course, we should mention Egypt, that played a pivotal role. And remember that Egypt controls the entry and exit to the Gaza Strip on the southern side of the Gaza Strip. So between Egypt, Turkey, Qatar, I think that the deal was sealed. Brilliant diplomacy, really very, very impressive.
No, certainly I pulled up something major, but that just concerns me, the players, because Hamas, from what I've read, didn't really agree to lay down their arms.
Israel, you're right, but Hamas has always been consistent that their demand is that Israel will eventually withdraw from Gaza. And Israel at this moment has not agreed to withdraw from Gaza as well. So basically what happened is that for a long time, it was actually the Israeli side that wanted to do partial deals. At some point a few months ago, Prime Minister Netanyahu actually said that he wants to bring back all of the hostages in one deal, in one package, which actually meant that hostage freeing deal also meant a war-ending deal, because why would Hamas give up on the main, if you wish, card or asset that they have, except for ending the war? So by doing that, actually, Prime Minister Netanyahu really raised the stakes. And I don't think that he expected that things would turn out the way they did, meaning the failed attack in Qatar, which then led to, again, if you look from the side, a really brilliant Arab diplomacy led by the Qataris, but not just by the Qataris, also by the Saudis, that brought forward this proposal, which then Prime Minister Netanyahu and Minister Dermer kind of corrected in the Israeli direction during the UN General Assembly, but that was effectively the deal that was signed. So in many ways, I think that the moment that Israel said that it wants all of the hostages released in one package, that was tied to a war-ending deal. Now comes Trump, puts forward a 20-point plan that includes the releasing of all Israelis, but also the withdrawal of Hamas from Gaza and the withdrawal of Israel from the Gaza Strip, the military forces, but also lays out a horizon that includes a Palestinian Authority that is reformed and upgraded, that will eventually take over the Gaza Strip, etc. And I think that these were elements that the current Netanyahu government had a very hard time accepting, which then led to another pivot that happened in Sharm in Egypt just last week, when effectively they did not sign the comprehensive deal. They only signed the first part of the deal, which was the Israeli realignment within Gaza in exchange for the release of the hostages. And of course, Israel will have to release some Palestinian prisoners.
Now, what I've concerned about, and I'm sure a lot of Israelis are thinking the same thing, is that Israel, as I said earlier, is going to release, I think, at least 1,000 terrorists, might even be more. About 250 of them have real blood on their hands. The question is, will another Sinwar be released among the terrorists that are going to be let go?
Of course, we don't know that. We can't predict. But just in terms of our history, we hold these terrorists in our jails, partly knowing that at some point we will trade them in exchange for Israeli hostages or POWs or Israeli soldiers that are taken in some way or another, either kidnapped from Israel or during a military operation, like what happened with Gilad Shalit. It also happened many times in Lebanon. So I think it's part of the logic that a lot of these, rarely a Palestinian terrorist actually dies in jail. I mean, unless they have some illness and so on. At the end of the day, most of them are being released at some point or another. It's just, I know it's hard for people to swallow, but this is just how it has been for a very long time.
Should Israel have a death penalty for terrorists?
It's that debate has been going on in Israel for a long time, with arguments being made for and against a death penalty. I think that it's actually useless. A lot of these terrorists, especially if they're willing to commit suicide in a terrorist attack, most of them, when they go out on a terror attack, they know that they're not coming back. So you're talking about threatening with life, potentially losing life, people who were willing to sacrifice their life. So the level of deterrence is not that high. For many years, the people said that if we destroy their homes, meaning the price that is taken from them is not just against them in terms of them losing their freedom, but also that they lose their homes, that their homes are being demolished and their families become homeless, that would deter them. But yet our jails are still filled. So basically, I think that there are enough people, Palestinians out there, who are willing to take arms and fight Israel. Sadly, unfortunately, that's still the case. I'm not sure that death penalty would prevent that, but what I am sure that every time that we will come forward to implement and execute a person, there'll be a tremendous pressure from all over the world to stop that. In addition, we have to remember that Hamas had many, initially 250 people in their hand. So execution on our side may mean execution on their side.
Well,
so there are a lot of
1,200 people just on October 7th.
Yes, but that was a part of a military kind of confrontation. They came into Israel. They did horrific things. But after that, and also if you look at the history, Arab side, Palestinian side have held Israeli prisoners for extended period of time. And there were not a lot of executions that we are aware of. People disappeared, like the aviator Ron Arad, who fell whose airplane was shot down in Lebanon in 1982 or 83, I believe, and he eventually disappeared. But in most cases, people were held in jail, in captivity by the Arab side, and eventually they were traded back to Israel. So the debate has been raging in Israel, by the way, for a long time. I fall on the side that it's really useless. It's not deterring anybody.
I don't think it's a question of deterrence, Gidi. It's a question, though, where you can't trade them for a hostage. You know, or is it top the people who have so much blood on their hands? I'm not talking about every single terrorist. I'm talking about those that are really engaged in mass acts of terrorism should be eliminated, and maybe Israel should hold the bodies and trade the bodies, you know, in case there's ever a hostage situation again or POW situation.
Look, I fall on the side, again, as I said, this debate has been going on for decades. I fall on the side that this is not something that we should do, but arguments have been made the other way. I don't think it will affect the overall state of the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. I just don't think it's a determining factor in this conflict.
But when you see it, then I know that Israel values life and Hamas and these terrorists don't value life. But when you see 20 some hostages being released and some dead bodies, and you have to give over 1,000 terrorists have to be let go free with blood on their hands, it's just something which I know Israel is willing to pay the price, but it's a very steep price.
It is a huge price to be paid. You know, as we say, I don't want to belittle this, but it is what it is. You know, we have 48 people in Gaza. We have to bring them back. From the beginning, we knew, from the very first day it happened, we knew that in one way or another, Israeli jails will be emptied of the Palestinian prisoners, nearly emptied of the Palestinian prisoners that had been in jail before October 7. I thought from the beginning, and I'm very glad that the government did not break this red line, and that is that anybody involved in October 7 or apprehended after October 7 who participated in October 7 cannot and should not be released for many, many years to come. But other than that, I think it was quite clear from the very beginning that most of the Palestinian prisoners in the Israeli jails will be going home as soon as Hamas was able to abduct about 250 Israelis into Gaza. Sadly, but that's the situation. And, you know, we have to be cool-headed about it. It's a national security struggle. It's a competition between the Jewish and the Israeli people, the Jewish people claiming attempting to realize our right of self-determination in the land of Israel. There is the Palestinian people there. There is a conflict between us. It's a long-term conflict. It doesn't get determined in one fight or another fight, you know, in one war or another war. It's been going on for a while, and sadly, it will continue for a while. So I think that in this round, Israel has significant achievements. When it comes to the Palestinians, I think Israel has tremendous achievements in Lebanon, in Iran, in other places. But when it comes to the Palestinians, the situation is more problematic or challenging in terms of assessing who succeeded in this conflict. But for sure, I think that we have a number of good achievements that we can be proud of as a country 2 years into the war. And that's where things stand. You know, we could opine for or against, but this is just the reality.
Gidi Grinstein is our guest, the founder, president of Reut Institute. He's also the author of Flexagidity, the Student of Jewish Adaptability. He was involved in Birthright Israel and also a part of the Israeli delegation to peace negotiation with the PLO in the 2000 Camp David Summit and the negotiations at that time. We're going to be right back. Don't go away. Stay tuned. If you'd like to chime in our conversation, our numbers are 212-769-1925. What do you think about what's going on with Israel? You think it's good for Israel, not good for Israel? You think it's going to last? People, of course, are very skeptical. 212-769-1925. Email is a wonderful way to get your questions answered. Zev at TalklineNetwork.com, Zev at TalklineNetwork.com. You can also WhatsApp us at 212-769-1925. Coming up a little later on tonight, we'll speak to a Rabbi Erwin Katzoff. He's in Jerusalem. He was working in the outreach for 20 years. Decided he wanted to make $1 million. He wanted to get very rich. And he found that it was challenging. In fact, he wrote a book called Living Dangerously, My Struggle to Get Rich Without Losing My Soul. We'll also speak to Ashley Tischler, candidate for city council in Brooklyn. We're going to be right back. Don't go away. Stay tuned. This is the Talkline Network.
Podcasts are everywhere, but cutting through the noise is tough. Did you know of the 5 million podcasts worldwide? Half of them only get 30 listeners? Want to reach a bigger audience? Think radio. Talkline Network gets you targeted listeners who are ready to engage with your message. Host your own show with us and supercharge your podcast's reach. We'll help you connect with the right audience. For a free consultation, call Talkline Network today at 212-769-1925, extension 100. That's 212-769-1925, or email zevbrenner@gmail.com. That's 212-769-1925, extension 100.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Anthony D'Esposito, former congressman, side by side with New York State Assemblyman Ari Brown. And this is the of Anthony and Ari Unfiltered, where we will talk about everything and anything that's going on in the world today. Kid from Franklin Square, the guy from Island Park, we are truly going to be unfiltered.
Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. on Zev Brenner's Talkline Network, WSNR 620 AM, WNEW 102.7 FM HD3, and streaming at talklinenetwork.com. When former Congressman Anthony D'Esposito, Inspector General of the Department of Labor, and Assemblyman Ari Brown tackle hot-button issues with sharp minds and even sharper tongues. Warning: may contain strong opinions, mild sarcasm, and the occasional political zinger.
As the Chagim approach, do your children and grandchildren know about your Jewish journey? I'm New York Times best-selling author Michael Levin. They call me the Michael Jordan of ghostwriting, and I've helped many highly successful individuals in our community craft and publish their memoirs and business books. When we go, our stories go with us, unless we commit them to paper in a powerful, highly readable manner. Legacies are more than money. They're the stories we've kept inside of us, things we know about our parents and grandparents that truly deserve to be preserved. If you'd like to learn more about how to have a book and perhaps a video that you and your loved ones can be proud of, call Zev at 212-769-1925, extension 100. Again, that's 212-769-1925, extension 100. Or email him at zev@talklinenetwork.com.
Imagine escaping the winter cold for 7 nights of luxury, sunshine, and world-class kosher cuisine at the stunning 5-star Renaissance Panama City Hotel. This is Panama Yeshiva Week 2026. From January 18th to 25th, Go Beyond invites you to join over 150 Jewish families from around the globe for an unforgettable vacation packed with adventure, relaxation, and community. Tour the Panama Canal, zip line through rainforests, meet monkeys on Monkey Island, and unwind on pristine beaches with all transportation and guides included. Enjoy gourmet glad kosher meals, kosher bar and tea room, a full-time mashgiach, and the culinary highlight of the week, Kosher Fest Gala. Whether you're a solo traveler, couple, or large family, custom pricing makes it affordable for everyone. Group airfare from NYC starts at just $499, baggage included. Don't wait, spaces are filling fast. Call 347-307-2677 or visit PanamaYeshivaWeek.com to get your personalized quote today. Early bird pricing ends soon. And who knows, you might even be interviewed live on Talkline with Zev Brenner while soaking up the sun in Panama. Panama Yeshiva Week 2026. Go beyond the vacation. Call Go Beyond now at 347-307-2677. That's 347-307-2677.
Hi, this is Yaakov Sir from the Queens Jewish Link. I just wanted to remind you that Queens Jewish Link is distributed door to door in Kew Garden Hills. It's distributed in Long Island, 5 towns, Great Neck, Manhattan, Brooklyn, and now we are also reporting from our all local news, national news, international news, and all the news from Israel. And please, if you're interested in advertising, just give me a call, Yaakov Searle, 917-549-6145, 917-549-6145. That's 917-549-6145.
Deal Estate Israel, your go-to source for below-market and unbeatable real estate deals in Israel. From auctions and bankruptcies to exclusive off-market listings, they deliver the best deals and guide you through every step of the journey, start to finish.
הלוואי נדע בשורות טובות.
This week's featured Deal Jerusalem Estates. Discover a rare opportunity to own a luxurious 4-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor of one of Jerusalem's most prestigious residences. Featuring high-end finishes, meticulous design, and an expansive balcony, partially covered, partially open, perfect for relaxing or entertaining. It comes fully furnished and move-in ready. Includes private parking, a storage unit, and more. Available now exclusively through Deal Estate Israel at below-market pricing. Call or WhatsApp 917-523-1405 now. That's 917-523-1405 or visit dealstateisrael.com to learn more. Own in Jerusalem. Save with Deal Estate.
Thanks for joining us.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
And we're back. Gidi Grinstein is with us, the founder and president of the Reut Institute, an Israel-based strategy and action group. He has his finger on the pulse of what's happening in Israel. And, of course, so let's go. So we have a busy phone line. So let's go to Borough Park. Ellie in Borough Park, your question for Gidi Grinstein. Go ahead, Ellie.
Yeah, good work, Zev, and I appreciate the program. I listen a lot to you. I never called you. I called you for the first time because I couldn't resist not calling. Two quick points. First of all, I don't understand for the life of me how come you release hostages and you release murderers? How does it come together? I mean, Trump is doing a good job, but if he's such a tough guy, should have told Hamas, you know what? You release all the hostages and you're not getting nobody. First of all, it's a victory for them. They don't care. They don't care if 100,000 Palestinians are killed as long as they can claim victory. That's one. Number two, this giving back murderers, is triggering the next hostage taking. It's a tragedy for them. They know that Israel will always give back anything for hostages. We have to stop this leverage. Got me?
I'll let Gidi respond to you. Go ahead, Gidi.
Well, the best way to stop this leverage is to prevent October 7 attacks. We failed miserably on October 7. That was a massive, colossal political and military failure. And therefore, once 250 civilians were in Gaza, held hostage, it was the responsibility.
1 second, Ellie. I'll let you respond. Let him finish, and I'll let you respond. Go ahead.
It was the responsibility of the government of Israel to bring them back. Now, Israel did very, very harsh things in Gaza, including displacing almost 90% of the population, destroying almost 80% of the homes, and applying tremendous pressure. At some point, we withheld food from coming into Gaza, which led to a situation of hunger, starvation, whatever you want to call it. All of that did not lead to the release of the hostages. There was near consensus in Israel. Vast majority of the people wanted the hostages back. So I understand that the caller from Brooklyn, I assume, would have held them in Gaza indefinitely, but most of the Israelis actually support this deal. And that's actually, I think, vast majority in Israel supports the deal. Even Prime Minister Netanyahu described it as a big success. So I don't even understand what is the reservation that I'm hearing here on the news, especially for someone who doesn't live in Israel.
Okay, that's part of the problem, that you really don't. I agree, you don't understand, because I make a lot of sense. And the problem is, you tell me that October 7 was a disaster. It's true. That has nothing to do. But I'm talking about leverage, incentive. We give them incentive to do it again. Of course, you have to be on top of everything.
Well, let me give you another option on it, okay?
No.
1 second. Finish.
Don't tell me I live in Brooklyn and I don't care. My heart goes out for each and every hostage. I'm Jewish, I have Jewish blood and a Jewish heart. And my parents both are Holocaust survivors. My heart goes out for all the hostages. Now, I cannot tell you how I go out for them. But it has nothing to do. There's going to be new hostages. You're creating more hostages.
Yes, I think you're right that there may be,
like
at some point in the future, may be additional soldiers or civilians that are taken hostage, and we will need to deal with it again. There's nothing new. It's been happening for decades. I don't think there is anything that is really, surprising in what you're saying here. I do want to say, however, excuse me.
1 second, Ellie, let him respond. You didn't like when he interrupted, so don't interrupt him. Go ahead.
I do want to point out that there is a Palestinian Authority out there that believes in that is against violence against Israel, has not taken a single Israeli hostage in the last 20 years. And the government of Israel today decided to leave in jail the supporters of the Palestinian Authority that believe in living side by side with Israel, and release Hamas people. So if you're asking yourself, what are the incentives? I'm sorry, let me finish. What are the incentives that we're creating in this deal? Then clearly the incentives that this government of Israel is creating right now is for additional kidnapping, because the Palestinians in jail that support living alongside Israel, they're staying in jail, but the Hamas people are being released. So you're right, it's about incentives, and some of the incentives here are really skewed in the way we decided on the identity of the people who are being released today.
Okay.
And by the way, also in previous deals.
I can tell one thing of your conversation. You sound to me very naive if you believe that Palestinian authorities are ready to live side by side with Israel.
Eli, it's not about naive. It's not about naive. Eli, the difference between you and me is that I actually know what I'm talking about. It's not about naive. It's about the opinion. It's about the opinion of the General Security Service in Israel. And if you look at the news carefully, then in the last minute on the list of the people, of the Palestinian prisoners are being released, the government of Israel switched 11 in the last minute, people who are Fatah supporters, and Fatah is for existence alongside Israel in exchange for Hamas. Left in jail. Eli, let me finish. Meaning, we left in jail people who are less blood on their hand, who are for living alongside Israel, and we released people who have more blood on their hand that belong to a movement that rejects Israel's right to exist. So you have to take that into account as well when you're talking about incentives.
Ellie, with 30 seconds.
You sound to me like a lefty that tried to be right. You're not right. You're criticizing for letting out Hamas. You don't care for letting out Hamas. You just bothers you that they didn't leave out the Fatah. That's what bothers you. Be honest, okay?
Well, Eli, listen. Eli, listen. There is a list. There was a list of names, and we needed language. There's a list of names, and we needed to decide who to release in this list of names. And read carefully, and you'll see that what I said is perfectly accurate.
Anyway,
so you may call it whatever name you want, but this was the reality. Check your facts, and you'll see it.
In other words, what you say is reality, and what I say is fiction. Okay, I got you.
No,
okay.
I'm just giving you a fact. Giving you a fact. Check me.
Ellie, thank you for your fire. We just have to have a lot of calls. Before I get to the next phone call, the point that he thinks, first of all, Fatah and Palestinian Authority, they play both sides of the game. They've cooperated with Israel, but they've also been involved in some terrorism over the years. That's been a fact.
No. Palestinian Authority has not been involved in terrorism.
Well, there's
members of the Palestinian Authority, yes. People who are seen also by the Palestinian Authority as people who are violators of the Palestinian Authority policy. But Zev, you have to be very accurate. The Palestinian Authority has not been involved in terrorism. Not only that, the Palestinian Authority actually collaborates on security issues with Israel. So we have to be very accurate about that. This is the first thing.
They do sometimes, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they.
The second thing, but even if I go with you, we don't debate facts. You're saying that the Palestinian Authority sometimes is with Israel and sometimes against Israel. It's much better than having Hamas that is always against Israel. I think you would agree. You would agree with that, right? One of the two is better than 0 out of 2. So.
You know what you remind me of? There's a rabbi has to give a eulogy at a funeral, and the person, you're supposed to say something nice about the deceased. The problem is the guy in front of us is a mean, nasty individual, criminal, So he gets up. You got to say something. Now he goes, his brother, worse. That's what reminds me of. That's
But
gonna
listen, I think that if you look at the incentives, right, you have Hamas, who believed in the armed struggle, who rejects Israel's right to exist. They don't speak about the two-state solution. They don't speak about the 1967 lines. They don't speak about, they're not enemies of Iran. The Palestinian Authority is a declared enemy of Iran. Okay, and then all of that. So we in this list of people being released, Israel clearly favored releasing Hamas people over Fatah people. So Eli here and other listeners could ask themselves, what is the incentive that is being created here?
Before I get to our next caller, but the problem is in Judea and Samaria, you have a lot of weapons. A lot of it, while everybody's been focused on Gaza, there's been a lot of terrorist activity in Judea and Samaria, even areas that are governed by the Palestinian Authority, and it's a powder keg.
Yes, of course. There are a lot of issues, a lot of security issues in the West Bank. There is extensive military activity in the West Bank. Yes, of course, it's a very big challenge. That being said, it was nothing near what we had in Gaza.
Henya in Crown Heights, thank you for waiting. Your question for Gidi.
I don't know if it's a question or a comment, but it may sound harsh, but this is the way I feel about it. I think that a terrorist that kills one Jew should definitely be killed. If he kills two Jews, they should kill two, which means him and another member of his family. And if he kills 10, they should do that. That's the only deterrent. This is a big joke. They put him in prison and they feed it, and then they release him. Why shouldn't they
You
kill?
can't, Henya, you cannot kill people who did not, just because they're a family member. You can't execute other members of the family. That's sorry. That wouldn't fly.
Right, that's what you think. Can you imagine if one Jew killed one Arab in one Arab country, what they would do? You know what happened in Iran when a young Jew defended himself? They killed him. They killed him because he defended himself and killed somebody else, only in his defense. Why are we all worried about the whole world? I feel that the families, I feel for the families of the hostages. But you know, the 900 soldiers died for these 20. I mean, we're releasing terrorists. If they change the ideology, this is a horrible change. The first the work is they change the way they teach their children and the way they feel.
And yeah,
I think that
I'm gonna let Gidi respond, but you can't just go kill people who are family members.
And I suggest that you take upon yourself to kill the family member of that terrorist being apprehended. Why don't you go out there, look at the family, pick up a child or a parent or a spouse or a nephew, and you kill them. And then we'll see what are the consequences. I mean, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap, right? To sit here in America and to expect an Israeli soldier or police person to take a person that even according to you has not been engaged in military activities or in terrorist activities and to just execute them. Talk is so cheap. You compare yourself to Iran. Maybe you belong in Iran. I don't think I want to be in Iran, and most Israelis don't want to be like Iran. Just go out there, be in Iran. I think if this is the culture that you embrace and you love, you should be there.
First of all, I want to tell you that I have a lot of members of my family, including children and grandchildren there. So I'm not just talking about the top of my head. Second of all,
no, but you're here. So don't preach us.
But she has family that are of course
family. Let the family do extrajudicial executions.
Okay, I know that it sounds harsh, but the question is, how do we stop it? You can't stop it by just putting a band-aid on a cancer. I think, you know that in 1929 in Hebron, when the Jews slaughtered, they even killed the doctor that saved them. Unless you change the
listen, you happen right now too. Somebody, they have some Palestinian in Gaza who was saved by one of the hospitals, was ready to commit murder against Israel, and he was saved by Israel. Just happened recently. I don't remember the exact.
I'm trying to tell you.
No, it was Sinwar. Sinwar was saved by Israel.
And Sinwar also was saved, but what's to do with somebody else more recently than Sinwar?
Yeah, of course.
On Gilad Shalit, they let out 1,000 of them, and this is what happened. You're letting them out again. What, are you repeating yourself the whole history? Yes, you do have to do something drastic to stop this. You can't just stop it by talking and hoping that they're going to change.
No, but you're assuming that what you're saying will
I
stop it.
feel for everybody. Don't think I don't. We have, I don't want
No,
to.
but you're assuming,
The army who were killed.
but you're assuming that what you're suggesting will achieve that goal, and I'm saying that it won't.
Anyway, Henya, thank you for your phone call. Let's move on to Stan in Forest Hills. Your question for our guest. Go ahead. Yeah, hey, Stan, go ahead. Yes. Stan, your question? All right, we'll get back to Stan. Our guest is Gidi Grinstein, the president of the Reut Institute, and we're looking at the situation in Israel with the new peace negotiations. And we're going to be right back. Don't go away. Stay tuned. Our number, if you want to call us, is 212-769-1925, 212-769-1925. You can email us. Also, a wonderful way to get some of your questions answered, zev@talklinenetwork.com, zev@talklinenetwork.com. Coming up in a little while, City Council candidate Heshi Tischler will join us, and also we'll be speaking to Rabbi Erwin Katzov. He worked for 20 years for Eshet Torah. He wanted to make millions of dollars, and he has a soul-searching book called Living Dangerously, My Struggle to Get Rich Without Losing My Soul. We're going to be right back. Don't go away. Stay tuned. This is the Talkline Network. I'm Zev Brenner. Don't go away. Dreaming of a home or investment in Jerusalem or Ramat Beit Shemesh? Realistic Realty turns that dream into a smarter, achievable reality. We buy in bulk before properties hit the market, so you get exclusive access at below market prices. If you're not an Israeli citizen, we secure great low mortgage rates up to 90% and handle the financial legwork for you. Whether it's your first home or vacation escape or helping your kids settle, we've got you covered with pre-sale and built apartment options, pre-financial investment planning, personalized guidance, but feels more like a trusted friend than a pushy agent. Why rent when you can own? Turn your monthly payments into equity and your vision into value. Call Aaron Rietti at 833-BUY-ISRAEL. That's 833-BUY-ISRAEL. Or you can email realisticrealtyar@gmail.com. Realistic Realty, making Israel feel like home.
The Jewish Press is the largest independent weekly Jewish newspaper in the United States. It's packed with in-depth articles, interesting podcasts, information about the Jewish world, political and religious commentary, and more. Visit jewishpress.com, or to subscribe to the print edition or advertise, call 718-330-1100. That's 718-330-1100.
The following is a paid political advertisement.
You know what could happen. You listen to what people running for public office say, and you know what they can do to hurt our communities. Bet you know people who are saying, Mamdani, he really doesn't mean what he's saying. He can't be serious, right? Wrong. He means every word he says. Mamdani will keep his word to his radical left-wing supporters. He will enforce a law that can destroy middle income to outer borough apartment owners. He will slash $1 billion from the NYPD budget, cut cops, gut public safety. He means what he says. Who's really got the guts to fight Mamdani? Heshi Tischler. In the city council, Heshi Tischler will fight Mamdani the same way he's fought the powerful for so many in our community. If you don't want socialist extremism to spread near you, then vote for Heshi Tischler. Give Mamdani exactly what he doesn't want. On Election Day, November 4th, or on early voting beginning October 26th, please vote to elect Heshi Tischler to the City Council. Heshi Tischler, he's the daily headache Mamdani deserves in the City Council.
This is Heshi Tischler. I approve this message. Paid for by Heshi Tischler 2025.
Hi, I'm Phil from Phil the Pill. I help people get real FDA-approved weight loss medication like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro at prices that actually make sense. A lot of people assume if it's affordable, it's questionable. Totally fair, but here it's the opposite. We only carry brand name FDA-approved meds. No guesswork, no cutting corners, just safe, reliable medication for way less than you'd expect. How do we keep prices low? Our pens are adjustable, so you get more doses per pen, which makes your monthly cost pleasantly surprising. Like, wait, that's it? Surprising. I believe you deserve to feel confident in what you're taking without breaking the bank. We ship fast, answer your questions clearly, and try to be the kind of people you'd recommend to your sister or your mother-in-law. Visit fillthepill.com or message us on WhatsApp at 438-823-7596. Fill the Pill, real meds, real saving. And I'm a real nice guy.
Imagine escaping the winter cold for 7 nights of luxury, sunshine, and world-class kosher cuisine at the stunning 5-star Renaissance Panama City Hotel. This is Panama Yeshiva Week 2026. From January 18th to 25th, Go Beyond invites you to join over 150 Jewish families from around the globe for an unforgettable vacation packed with adventure, relaxation, and community. Tour the Panama Canal, zip line through rainforests, meet monkeys on Monkey Island, and unwind on pristine beaches with all transportation and guides included. Enjoy gourmet glad kosher meals, kosher bar and tea room, a full-time mashgiach, and the culinary highlight of the week, Kosher Fest Gala. Whether you're a solo traveler, couple, or large family, custom pricing makes it affordable for everyone. Group airfare from NYC starts at just $499, baggage included. Don't wait, spaces are filling fast. Call 347-307-2677 or visit PanamaYeshivaWeek.com to get your personalized quote today. Early bird pricing ends soon. And who knows, you might even be interviewed live on Talkline with Zev Brenner while soaking up the sun in Panama. Panama Yeshiva Week 2026. Go beyond the vacation. Call Go Beyond now at 347-307-2677. That's 347-307-2677.
Hi, this is Trudy Stern, and I want to invite you to join me for Nothing But the Truth Thursday night at 9:30 p.m. You will hear nothing but the truth from leading elected officials and experts about world events and current issues affecting our community. So join me, Trudy Stern, Thursday night at 9:30 p.m. on Zev Brenner's Talkline Network, WSNR 620 AM, WNEW 102.7 FM HD3, and online at talklinenetwork.com. Hope you will join me as we delve into nothing but the truth about current events that affect our community most.
Deal Estate Israel, your go-to source for below-market and unbeatable real estate deals in Israel. From auctions and bankruptcies to exclusive off-market listings, they deliver the best deals and guide you through every step of the journey, start to finish.
This week's featured Deal Jerusalem Estates. Discover a rare opportunity to own a luxurious 4-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor of one of Jerusalem's most prestigious residences. Featuring high-end finishes, meticulous design, and an expansive balcony, partially covered, partially open, perfect for relaxing or entertaining. It comes fully furnished and move-in ready. Includes private parking, a storage unit, and more. Available now exclusively through Deal Estate Israel at below-market pricing. Call or WhatsApp 917-523-1405 now. That's 917-523-1405 or visit dealestateisrael.com to learn more. Own in Jerusalem. Save with Deal Estate.
This is your number one station.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981. Please call us with your questions and comments at 212-769-1925. That's 212-769-1925. Or email us at zevbrenner@gmail.com.
And we're back. Our guest, Gidi Grinstein. He is president of the Reut Institute. He has a string on the pulse what's happening in Israel. We're taking some of your phone calls, some of your email questions. Let's go to Stan and Forest. So your question for our guest. Go ahead, Stan.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Let's get something straight here, sir. Okay? This deal, and Zev made a couple of solid points. What is this deal? Let's get real here. The reality is, the main thing is getting out the dead and the living. That's it. That's the main part of this deal. Everything else is happenstance, or will happen, won't happen. Okay? So the first thing is, who's sitting at the damn table? Oh, Turkey, who can't stand Israel's guts. Who else is sitting at the Qatar, who has $8 billion of money of Hamas, and they're still friendly. They have two faces. Who else is sitting at the table? Oh, Egypt, so forth. Who's not thrilled with? We have a peace treaty with them, Israel has, but still, it's not the best deal in the world. So what is the deal for Israel? Yes, they're getting out the thing. And so why is Trump saying that there's going to be peace in overall? And the other thing is, Iran hasn't surrendered. They haven't done anything. You might have sent a bomb over there to their atomic plant, but still they have not surrendered, and they're preparing to do whatever. So what's really been accomplished here? There is no peace. Do you agree with that?
I think that President Trump said that he outlined a possible path for peace, or a path for peace. And I think that in this respect, he's right. Meaning the 20 points that he suggested offer an outline over a few-year period that may lead at the end of the day to some sort of an agreement between Israelis and Palestinians with regional support. This is, I think, what he meant when he spoke about peace. He didn't mean that peace is coming tomorrow or after the hostages are coming back. If you read the 20 points that he suggested in detail, you'll see that it's a very long process that we're talking about, a few years down the road, that he outlined. But at the end of the day, these kind of arrangements, I know, Sarah, that you are not happy with the fact that Egypt was there and Qatar was there and Turkey was there and Hamas was there. Yes, they are not friends of
Hamas
Israel.
had to be there. I agree. Hamas had to be there.
Yes, but how else do you want to structure negotiations? The government
Your
of Israel
enemy, the one that's killing you, Hamas. You don't need Turkey there.
Well, until now, but here's,
Israel.
sir, just a moment. Until now, the official policy of the government of Israel, and what they also all previous U.S. governments, was that we're not talking to Hamas, because Hamas is a terror organization. So here you're locked between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, there is a principle that says that we don't talk to Hamas. On the other hand, we have to talk to Hamas. The other thing you have to note here is that it was Israel's decision not to talk to the Palestinian Authority and not to talk to the PLO, that are the more moderate Palestinian entities. So when you take all these kind of positions at the end of the process, actually throughout the process, you find yourself talking to Hamas. Now, this administration, and I believe to their credit, broke with past traditions and talked to Hamas directly in order to get the deal. So, because at the end of the day, the president, I don't know if you like him or you don't, but the president is a deal maker, and he understood that the deal is going to be made with Hamas.
Co-ops and condos, sir. This isn't
maybe, but the proof of the pudding.
Here. This is
Stan, let him. I'll let you.
Yeah, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. There is an agreement that is supported by the vast
agreement. There is a 20%
possibility. Stan, let him finish.
Go ahead.
There is an agreement that is supported by the vast majority of Israelis. I think there is maybe 10, 12, 15, 20% of the Israelis that don't support this, but it's deep in the 70, 80% of Israelis support this agreement. So, you may not like it. You may belong to the 20% that would have opposed the deal, but the reality is there is a deal. So, and the deal was made and the deal was signed. What?
That's it.
Well,
what else is the deal? There's nothing else.
I'll explain what else is in the deal. Okay, you have 2 million people in Gaza. These people are not going anywhere, especially after this deal. They're not only that they're not leaving Gaza, they're actually coming back into Gaza City and northern Gaza. So you have 2 million people in that area. A main concern for Israel was that we may end up being responsible for this population. Just so you have a kind of a sense of scale.
Stan, go ahead.
Stan, just also for the other listeners, it's not just between you and me. The government of Israel has already approved $600 million to feed people in Gaza, and that's only this year. Okay, so you can understand what is the implications of having handed the responsibility for 2 million Palestinians in Gaza, with Gaza totally destroyed, when the infrastructure is no longer there. and add to that all the international pressure on Israel and the condemnations that we're seeing of Israel all over the world. So there is a tremendous price to be paid, and I wouldn't dismiss that as a non-issue. Israel, at least according to most people, does not want to control the Palestinian population in Gaza, and President Trump was very clear. Israel is not annexing any part of Gaza. Okay, this is black on white in a document that the Prime Minister of Israel signed. So if you're not annexing anything of Gaza, what are you doing there? Okay, so this is where the 20-point plan of President Trump offers a possible pathway into the future. Now, I agree with you, Stan, if this is what you're saying, that it's really complicated, it may not happen, a lot of people need to, a lot of entities need to participate, it requires a lot of trust. I think these are all very valid points. But I think what is evident for anybody who would take the time to read this plan is that it does provide an outline for moving forward. An outline, by the way, in which Israel...
Wait a minute, 20 points, right? By the time they get to the 10, they'll be back in war again. This is ridiculous. You don't need 20 points. First of all, you know that Israel was in Gaza for 30 years. You're going to give it back to these idiots? No way. That's a result.
Stan, Stan, I just think that what you just said is like, the horse is out of the stable. Like the train has left the station. Israel is not annexing Gaza.
The horse and put it back in. You can do that.
Well, okay, maybe. I think you should speak directly to President Trump about it. Perhaps send him a memo.
Speak to a traitor. I don't speak to a traitor. He's the worst. The point is,
you don't like that.
20 point. Wait a minute.
You don't like President Trump, but you like what he did, what he's doing now in Israel with the peace process.
I didn't want him there doing it at all. I think Netanyahu could have settled this on his own. He didn't need Trump. He could have done this on his own. Tell Hamas, we're here.
But he didn't, He
could
have, but he didn't.
Out, we'll kill you. That's it.
He said that for the last 2 years. Anyway, Stan, thank you for your phone call. I appreciate that. Listen, it's a very complicated situation. By the way, there was some talk about about Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu's coalition to fall apart. The right-wing ministers that he had didn't pull out of the government, did they?
Zev, Israel is a parliamentary system, right? So most parliamentary systems, and we are a 4-year tenure. So most parliamentary systems, the parliament disbands before the end of the tenure. We are now in year 4. Officially beginning November 1, we're in year 4 of this parliament. So it's kind of expected. It's no news that the government would be disbanded for one reason or another at some point or another in the coming year. And I think that it's possible that once the Knesset reconvenes after the holidays, soon thereafter, there will be a decision to go to election. But it's no longer a big surprise. If we were in the first year of the tenure, in the second year of the tenure, then yes, this is a big deal. But in year 4, no news.
Let's go to email. I promise we'll get to some email. This is from AI in Manhattan. Shavua Tov, Zev, great show as usual. Let's modify Henya's idea. If Israel would have had the death penalty for terrorists who killed Jews on the books, October 7 would never have happened, because Hamas themselves admitted that the beginning of this conflict, one of the main reasons to attack was to capture hostages in order to free the jailed Hamas murderers. Executing every terrorist murder would have solved hostage exchange and probably would have prevented October 7th. We have mercy on murderers, misplaced mercy on murderers only leads to our destruction.
Okay, so I just want to say again, what was the caller's name?
AI.
AI. Okay, I want to say to AI, whoever that is, that this is a debate. It's been going on in Israel for a long time. Just wanted to point your attention that we have had multiple right-wing governments, and all of them had reasons not to legislate the death penalty. So perhaps there is a reason not to do that. Okay, this is a government right now in power, led by Netanyahu, with very right-wing members of parliament and parties in the government. They had every possible opportunity to legislate a death penalty. It would have gone through the parliament, like a hot knife in butter, and they didn't do it. So perhaps there is a reason. It didn't happen. And I understand everybody's opinions here, but national security is really a serious matter. And that's why there are people who are professionals in national security. And that's what happened. As a matter of fact, it wasn't legislated.
Let's go to Harriet in Sheepshead Bay in Brooklyn. Your question for our guest. Go ahead, Harriet.
Thank you so much. Golda Meir stated, you don't negotiate with terrorists because they change their mind. And this is a catastrophe, this so-called peace deal, because we're dealing with terrorists, and the case spread here in New York City with Mandami, which is Hamas. So we're in a pretty awful situation. And I believe that Israel could have finished up the job. And that is my opinion, sir.
You had any response to Harriet?
I just, Golda Meir, just to remind your audience here, Golda Meir said that it would not negotiate with the Egyptians. She got a war. There was many casualties in this war in 1973. And guess what? After the war, she did negotiate with the Egyptians. So, you know, talk is cheap. But when power meets power, there are consequences. So in this case, and also, by the way, during Golda Meir's period, there was extensive engagement, or with terrorists. And I'll check, and I think there were probably also deals and exchanges during that period as well. But I do want to remind everybody here, there was a situation where you had 253 Israeli hostages in Gaza, and many people in Israel believe, myself included, that it's responsibility of the government to bring those people back. We can fight terrorists on another day, but now we need to bring them back. It's been 2 years, and they're coming back, and thank God that it's happening.
No, thank God they're coming back, but you can't negotiate with Hamas. They could have taken, you know what? There was a way to fight this stupid situation here of negotiating with the worst enemies of Israel. It never works out in the long term.
You're right, but first of all, in the Trump plan right now, there is still a possibility. It's still on paper. I think it was Stan that pointed out that it may not happen, but there is on paper a possibility that Hamas will withdraw from Gaza. And if that happens, this is a huge achievement for diplomatically and also militarily. So I think that that's still in the cards. It's still black on white. Turkey and Qatar were the big backers of Hamas, signed to this agreement. And President Trump, I believe, gave immunity to Qatar as part of this deal, so that the Hamas people who leave Gaza can go to Qatar and stay there. Because otherwise, why would they leave Gaza if they're going to die somewhere else by Israel? So that was all part of a deal. And at the end of the day, perfect is not on the menu. I think that a lot of people here, some of your callers, Zev, they think that perfect is on the menu, that you can save the hostages and not give back Palestinian prisoners, that you can destroy Hamas with no cost to Israel. No, that's not the situation. Israel tried really hard. We had 1,200. We lost 1,200 people on October 7. We lost more than 900 soldiers since we began the military maneuvering within Gaza. We paid a very high international price for this war. This war cost billions and billions of dollars. There is a massive exhaustion in the armed forces. There is 16,000 Israelis who are disabled because of this war, and I'm talking physical disabilities. I'm not even counting people who have PTSD. Families are falling apart. Families of reservists.
Because of the war.
I'm sorry?
A lot of divorces because of the war.
Yes, families are falling apart. There was just an interview this week with wives and spouses of people who do reserves, and they said that unanimously everybody is on medication. Everybody is going through huge marriage issues, parenting issues. So, there is a tremendous cost to this war. And I think a lot of people in the national security establishment, by the way, including in the government, including ministers in the government, believe that we are in a phase of diminishing returns, meaning we're still investing a lot of resources in Gaza, but military resources, but we're not getting what we want to achieve. So in this situation of diminishing returns, the alternative, which is to do a political deal to end the war, became more attractive, which is what happened right now. Again, perfect is not on the menu. I just want to remind everybody, nobody can get everything they want. The price is high. The trade-offs that the government was looking at were very difficult. The deal was made. And what is, I think, really impressive about this deal is that it's not just about now the exchange. It's also about the potential, I would say, security situation in Gaza that is, I believe, good for Israel.
Anyway, thank you for your phone call. A few moments that we have left, Gidi, I was curious because the Palestinian Authority is corrupt. They're talking about rechanging and revamping. It's like creating a whole new body that doesn't exist right now.
Yes. So basically, the Palestinian Authority is corrupt, and the other major accusations being made against her, two other, is that it's not a legitimate government because there were no elections, and the third thing is that they have been there's been this pay-for-slave program where people who are in jail are receiving funds from their families, and they are receiving funds from the Palestinian Authority. So these have been claims against the Palestinian Authority for a long time. After October 7, the UAE came forward with a reform agenda that had 7 major points, including cleaning up corruption, including de-radicalization of the education system, and so on. That is what is being referred to as the UAE reform agenda. Your listeners and you may have heard this concept. This is what entered into the Trump deal. So if those of you that will take the time to read the 20 points of President Trump, it refers there to the reform and upgrade of the Palestinian Authority, which is the description of the UAE agenda. Now, this is a multi-billion-dollar effort that is made even more complicated by the fact that Mahmoud Abbas, Abu Mazen, the leader of the Palestinian Authority, is 90 years old, and therefore there's going to have to be a political succession there. So basically, what the Trump plan suggests is that the Palestinian Authority would be reformed and upgraded before it is being ready to take over the Gaza Strip from the international force that is supposed to be deployed there in short order. This is the idea, and I think that this is the best idea out there. I don't think that anybody brought a better idea.
Barghouti
I'm not saying it's the best idea. I'm not saying it's a perfect idea, but it is the only reasonable idea out there. And by the way, the Arab countries are willing to put in money into this reform. Okay, it's not that they're just calling for reform. They're willing to invest the billions of dollars that are required in order to do this reform. So I understand all the reservations, but really, I think national security is about choices. It's not about choosing, it's not about just wishful thinking. And in this case, I think that the Trump plan reflects the best idea out there.
And by the way, if they invest all these billions of dollars to rebuild Gaza and Hamas and similar groups operate there, this whole thing can come crashing down again.
That's why the withdrawal of Hamas from Gaza is absolutely essential, because nobody's putting $1 into Gaza if Hamas is still there, because the war will return. So anything you build will be destroyed. Anything you develop will be demolished. So that's why the withdrawal of Hamas from Gaza is a precondition for the reconstruction of Gaza.
Barghouti was one of the names that was bandied about that the Hamas wanted released. He's a terrorist serving a life prison in Israel. You think at the end of the day he's going to be released because he's very popular among the Fatah faction. I can see them on the Hamas faction as well.
So basically, the government of Israel said that Barghouti is not being released. And I think this is a very bad decision for 3 reasons. Number one is that in order not to release Barghouti, they are releasing people who are more murderers than Barghouti. Okay, Barghouti is sitting there for 5 life sentences. They're releasing people who are more murderers than Barghouti on this list. This is number one. Number two, Yes, Barghouti is sitting for 5 life sentences, but Barghouti, until a few years ago, there's not been a connection in public statements by Barghouti, but until a few years ago, Barghouti actually believed in what we call the two-state solution, meaning he believed in that the Palestinian state, once it comes into being, it should live in peace with Israel. Barghouti is not a guy that wants to destroy Israel, at least according to his record before going into jail and while he was in jail. So compare that to Hamas people who want to eliminate Israel totally. I think it was a bad decision not to release Barghouti. And also, going back to an earlier caller, it provides really the wrong signal and the wrong incentive. Meaning, if you're Hamas and you abduct Israelis, you get your people out of jail. But if you're Fatah and you don't abduct Israelis, you don't get your people out of jail. What's the message here?
But Barghouti, he didn't abduct Israel, he just killed them.
Yeah, so basically Barghouti sits in jail for assassinations that happened during the Palestinian uprising, the second uprising that began on September 28, 2000 and thereafter. But he, in his philosophy, and again, I'm not here to protect Barghouti, I'm just trying to explain that right now we're releasing people who are far, far worse than Barghouti. Okay, that's my point. Barghouti, compared to some of the people being released, is really, let's call it moderate. So the decision not to release him is totally political.
Yeah, because he'll become the leader of the Palestinian Authority. He'll probably have a prominent role. And there's a concern about what he says.
Yes, but
you don't think he got hardened as being in Israeli jail? You don't think he's changed? That he has coming out?
We don't know. The jail has different effects on different prisoners. We've had thousands of Palestinians in jail. Some of them came out of jail and became people who are against violence, against use of force. They were some of the leaders of the Palestinian peace movement are ex-people in jail, and others became radicalized in jail. So it works both ways. The jail, and obviously, it's a very intense personal experience for everybody who sits in jail. These are not kind of retreats. There is a lot of restrictions. Since October 7, it's even much more difficult. So, but some people come out of there actually in favor of peace. Some people come out of there, I think probably more come out of there radicalized, but it's not there's not singular experience, not singular outcome from coming out of jail.
Gidi Grinstein, president and founder of Reut, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you very much for having me. And
for having you back. And always
24 hours, hopefully. We'll see 20 people, Israelis, crossing back into Israel. This will be an incredible moment that I'm sure that in many of your listeners' synagogues for the last 2 years, people have been saying Tehillim over and over again every day for this moment to happen. And it's happening. And I know there are a lot of reservations, a lot of you listeners calling in with not liking the deal, but this is a moment to be treasured and appreciated. Young people are getting, hopefully, an opportunity to recover, to heal, and to move forward in their lives as proud Israelis and Jews. I do want to say, Zev, because of your show, a lot of the listeners calling in are religious people. Almost everybody in jail, religious or not religious, not in jail, I'm sorry, in the dungeons of Hamas, in the tunnels of Hamas, describe how they said Shema Israel, how they prayed, how in the most difficult situations they did what they can to remember Shabbat, to do something for Shabbat. Some of them describe in a situation of hunger, they fasted on Yom Kippur. The remarkable Jewish things happened in the captivity of Hamas. Remarkable. And these are heroes. Everybody survived the jail, the captivity, the brutal captivity of Hamas is a hero coming back. And I think everybody here, I understand all the reservations, but everybody here, I hope, is happy tomorrow when these people are coming across. Oh my God, I can't even wait.
I can't wait to. I'm just happy to get them out because it's a hellhole, and it certainly was Gehenna, it's purgatory, and We're
It's a
thankful.
Holocaust level experience. It's a Holocaust level experience. The Holocaust, people in the concentration camps, people in the ghettos, they were there for 2, 3, 4 years. These are people who survived 2 years in situation of tremendous scarcity, hunger, mental pressure, physical pressure, brutality, and they're coming out. This is Holocaust level experience by people who are living right now in Israel. So, I can't wait for
hearts
tomorrow.
go out to the families, what they went through, and then we hope with God's help they'll be healed and healed as soon as possible.
Yes. Let's all pray for their healing, physical and mental.
Amen. Thank you for joining us. Look forward to having you back again.
Thank you.
Gidi Grinstein here on Gidi Grinstein on the Talkline Network.